This smile on my face is genuine. Genuine. Why? Because I just talked with Linda. I gotta tell you, again and again and again, this is the greatest invention of all times. The greatest. Did you know that there is an app called WhatsApp? And I tell you, I don't know how they make money. I really don't. But whoever came up with the idea of free phone calls and free video calls and a free way to share pictures and videos. Can you imagine that? WhatsApp. I gotta tell you, it is one of the greatest inventions ever. Anyway, I just got off the phone with Linda, and every time I talk to her, I have this smile on my face because she is amazing. Words cannot explain that. Anyway, WhatsApp. If you travel at all, you should have WhatsApp on your phone because it's free phone calls, free text, free sharing of photos, free sharing of videos right here. Another great thing about the phone, of course, is that we have access to all the information in the world. What I personally cannot understand, and I have tried, is why anyone would pick a single book and declare to the world that is the only information they need. I know this woman who is on my Facebook page made that very clear in shouting at me. It is the only book she should ever need. Speaking about shouting at me, the election is over, and I was in my backyard, my Eden, where I sometimes go just to meditate and think about the things that are about to happen, things that may or may not happen, and where we're going. Where are we going? And I thought about theocracy. You know, it is not too far-fetched to have a theocracy right here in America, because there's a certain religious group that you know of and I know of that did everything in their power to tell their congregants to vote for a specific person. And they did. They delivered the election. And I thought about, what if, since they did such a great job delivering the election, what if they took the next step and say, look, this is a nation that is ripe for theocracy. Would this elected man be like the Pope of America? Would he? And would he then ban all other schools of thought? Interesting. I hope we don't become a theocracy, but it is not out of the question considering the support he received from this one religious group of people. Anyway, let's move on to something really happy. I have a book here, and I got to tell you, this is another one of those books that should be in your library. I don't know if you can read this. This book is called The American Bible, and it was put together, like all Bible, it's a compilation. And this one was put together by Stephen Prothero. The American Bible. It should be in everyone's library. I know, this one person said, you keep talking about books, and if they were to get all the books I recommend, they would have to turn an entire room in a library. That would not be a bad idea. If you have the choice between good books and bad company, what would you choose? Anyway, the one thing about the American Bible, it gave you an insight of people as they really were. For example, we all know about Webster's dictionary, don't we? Well, let's talk about Noah Webster for a minute. And, if I make errors in reading this, forgive me. But I wanted to share with you the reality of real people. Noah Webster was born in 1758, and he made his transition in 1843. Now, Noah Webster might seem to be an unlikely candidate for inclusion in the American Bible. He's the man behind the dictionary, right? And wasn't he one of the most disagreeable men in the early republic, denounced by his own publisher as, quote, a pedantic grammarian, full of vanity and ostentation, end quote, and by the rival editor as a spiteful viper, a prostitute wretch, a demagogue, a great fool, and a bare-faced liar. Yes, and yes again. And so it describes Noah Webster. Noah Webster, by the way, and Jefferson had this great conversation. And Thomas Jefferson, as you know, is one of my heroes, in spite of the fact that he had slaves. And you say, is that possible for a man who had slaves to be your hero? Yes. After all, the biggest religious organization in the United States was founded by a man who had slaves. And this organization has white people and black people. Anyway, so Thomas Jefferson believed that language was dynamic. It evolves with time. And he had this big discussion with Noah Webster, who believed that language was absolute. There can only be one meaning for a word, just one. And so they went back and forth as to what language was, and whether or not language was dynamic, according to Thomas Jefferson, or absolute, according to Webster. But anyway, they went back and forth. That's a little bit of tidbit I thought I would throw in. The American Bible. If you get a chance, try to get a copy of it and just read what it was like, or what it is like, to read the words of some of the most brilliant minds of the United States. There was a time, when people cherish intelligence and brilliance. But anyway, this is what I want to read to you. And I need glasses because I can't see up close and I can't see far away. And, glasses cost money. Anyway, this was John F. Kennedy. At the time, he was a U.S. Senator, Democrat from Massachusetts. And he was making a promise about his presidential run and to keep his Catholicism out of politics. So he was talking to this religious group of people, and he said, and I quote, I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute, where no Catholic prelate would tell the president, should he be a Catholic, how to act, and no Protestant minister would tell his parishioners for whom to vote, where no church or church school is granted any public funds or political preference, and where no man is denied public office merely because of his religion differs from the president, who might appoint him, or the people who might elect him. I believe in an America that is officially neither Catholic, Protestant, nor Jewish, with no public official either request or accept instructions on public policy from the Pope, the National Council of Churches, or any other ecclesiastic source, where no religious body seeks to impose its will directly or indirectly upon the general populace or the public acts of its official, and where religious liberties is so invisible that an act against one church is treated as an act against all churches. Isn't that ironic, considering the group of religious people that we all know was very instrumental in getting somebody elected? I made the mistake of having the phone next to me, which I'll ignore for now. But consider 1960, where people would vote based on ideals and intellect, as opposed to a recent election where a religious organization got together. You know, theocracy, after all, is not so far-fetched, is it?